Hi everyone, this is Tina, and after the storm I just wanted to show you what things were looking like, just because I knew that this was going to happen. 3 days of severe storms have caused the flowers to look dreary. That's to be expected. They'll bounce back, but I'm also adding plant supports to certain flowers because they are totally flattened. And I want to show you what happens when we get hard rain, winds, and severe storms. The East Garden looking really good, and the only reason that it looks as good as it does is because I covered it with frost cloth. You can see that I still left the frost cloth over on this side. I'm working on taking it down, but that is what I did. So for 3 straight days, the frost cloth was in the East Garden, and the reason why I kept it on for so long is, one, we were expecting hail every single day, and I just didn't want the hostas to get torn through, which happens, and so I wanted them to stay nice and lovely and beautiful. I am so glad that it has turned out really nice in the hosta garden. But I'm going to pan over here. I did have some of this frost cloth that kind of went behind the Japanese maple and kind of on top of it a little bit over to this section, and you can see it kind of blew. Not much you can do, and I got a big weed in here. It looks like maybe hail hit it a couple times. See, that's what the hail damage did. A couple leaves there, a couple leaves over there, but overall they look really good. These ones should look really good when I uncover them. So I just used what I had and just tied it up. Now the frost cloth that I use, if you can see, it's really thin, so the water can still get through, but it's going to stop any of the big hail from ruining it. So this is perfect for just what it says for frost. Like if you're expecting a late frost and you want to protect your flowers, this is the best things to use. But you can also use it as hail shield in the event that a storm is coming through and is going to trample all of your plants. And hostas are just especially finicky when it comes to hail. They just look terrible, but look how much of a difference this has made on the Brunnera, on the hostas. It even kept the columbine from getting too trampled on, so very good news. I did use a rock from the border to hold these down so it would hold it down, but unfortunately the winds were really, really bad. And we also had almost 2 inches of rain that we received. So you Southerners, we're not quite used to that up here in eastern Nebraska, but I know your pain when you guys get that torrential rain down there and tornadoes. We had our fair share of all of that this week. The next place that we're heading is into Garden Avenue, and you can see it's really, really wet, but there were some things that just couldn't handle the wind and rain that we got. So the Baptisia started to flop over, and so I put a plant support there, and I also had to put plant supports over here on the irises. They also flopped from that wind. So I definitely have to get some more of those plant supports. I really like these ones, but I've run out, so I'm gonna have to get some more. Everything else looks okay, not super terrible. The Nepeta flattened out, which I expected it to flatten out. For some reason, salvias and the Nepeta really flatten out when we have rain and winds. That sound you just heard that sounds like a mechanical equipment is a frog. So I don't know how many of you are frog enthusiasts, but we actually have 2 frogs in the pond, and we have the string of babies in there, like baby eggs. So we're gonna have some tadpoles here pretty soon. Pretty exciting stuff. So here's the other Nepeta that flopped over. Another thing that took a toll was the Globemasters. They just kind of fell, and they, ended up losing all their blooms. Here's some other ones that kind of flopped over. But the ones that are towards the back of the flower beds are doing just fine. I think because of that, I am going to relocate these bulbs and some other ones to the back of a flower bed. That way they aren't up front and obvious, and they can give a nice backdrop. So I'm going to relocate these ones here pretty soon. The Back to the Fuchsia Salvia, as you can see, very flattened. I got one plant support up here. I haven't finished this one yet, but I'm going to take all of the growth here and just kind of like gently move it up to the front. I might even have some breakage. It's unfortunate. That's just something that happens. But the Back to the Fuchsia Salvia is a pretty addition to the garden. It easily flops when there's a storm. So I think I might have to get a couple more because they're pretty full. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the store and get some more of the plant supports. It trampled up the remaining irises on this plant. As you can see, peonies, a few days later, they're destroyed. That is part of the reason why I'm not a super fan of peonies here in my garden, because they don't last. And then they just leave a mess on the ground. You can enjoy them for just a small amount of time, and then they get powdery mildew all over their leaves. So they even look terrible by midsummer. I know there's a lot of peony lovers out there, and I do love the fragrance. I love the way they look, but it's so short-lived. I just am not a full 100% on board with peonies. But I had some from my existing gardens over the years, and when we put Garden Avenue back together, we did place them back in here. But not my first choice. The lilac is doing really good. All this rain has really made it happy. I haven't done much of a look through down here. Of course, some of the peach irises are flopping over, and I'll get us plant support there. Plant support here, but I didn't have anything to tie it up with, so I'm going to have to fix that. Still have some cleanup to do in here. But the hibiscus is starting to grow up real nice. And then the penstemon is starting to bloom a little bit. So I guess it made way for a few more flowers. But they are flopping a little bit, so I'll have to fix this. And this is also where I was talking about I need to get some of the Globemaster alliums planted towards the back of a flower bed, because this is just not working with that flop in the front. So gotta get that fixed. Roses are still looking beautiful. And see, peonies kind of falling. Not anything spectacular right now. And this one especially gets powdery mildew. And so, that looks like it. The Forsythia did kind of like flop over a little bit. I might come in here and just chop it down, like in the fall. Just come in here and like clean it up a little bit, because I need to get to the back of this flower bed, and it's really hard with all of this stuff in here. So I'm gonna do that. There was a few branches that fell in the yard from our neighbor's tree up there, and as you can see, we have new branches up here. So this whole large branch that you see from here all the way, this is the trunk that fell, and it goes all the way over. And then this piece that kind of comes up here is what fell from the storm. So yeah, we got to deal with this. This is supposed to be our future Zen garden, okay? And I know it's a mess, guys, but the problem is that as much as I want to pull the trigger on this area until the neighbors get rid of this tree. This is going to happen every single wind or rainstorm we have. As you can see, all of this wood that we have here is from previous trees that fell in the fall. We even had one big one fall in the winter. We just cannot put an investment in this whole area above here as much as we want to. We can't invest in it because it's just going to ruin our investment. We envision maple trees, like Japanese maple trees in here, with some Hakonokloa up here towards the front of each of the retaining walls, having a torii gate of some kind, having a beautiful gravel zen place, maybe with a bench. But unfortunately, we cannot even consider doing any of that at this point. And this tree, most of it is over onto our property line. So unfortunately, if we went to go in and cut this tree and cut everything that comes over to our side, I think eventually it would die. And then, so at this point, I just don't know what to do, but it makes it a dangerous situation for us, because even this area here and in the grass, and even on the fence, because the last branch that we had came down here. It came down here. As you can kind of see how the grasses kind of were trampled. It hit the Helen von Stein and kind of encroached in the Korean spice viburnum a little bit. And we came in here and had to cut it in the middle of winter. We had to come in here. So none of my flower beds in this area or the grassy area is safe, because we originally wanted to put a play area here for our grandbabies, but I don't want a branch falling down and them either destroying the playground area or hurting them. I just wouldn't be able to live with myself. So this is why this area back here is a little bit unsafe. And so I don't usually do too much back here in this area unless I absolutely have to. In the way of weeding and stuff like that, I'll do it when there's no danger of any type of debris falling. Because as you can see, if you zoom up onto this branch right here, that is a detached branch. And that one is going to come down. Sorry, I put my finger in there. But that one right there is going to come down eventually. And see, there's the end of it. So it's a good 8 feet at least. So that one I have to, be mindful. It's going to come down and it's going to fall, and I don't know where it's going to fall. Most likely it would fall like in this dogwood area here. So it just depends on how the wind blows it. So yeah, it's very frustrating, to say the least, to not even be able to use some of your property because you're worried about a tree that drops branches all the time. But what can I do? If you guys have any suggestions on how we could handle this, I don't want a feud with the neighbors, but we also cannot afford to cut this whole tree down by ourselves. It doesn't look like anything else really of course the roses are kind of flopping and I have to go in there and clean those up, especially how they're kind of flopping now onto the Japanese maple. I got to get those. I'm just going to cut those canes here so it's not impacting the tree. But yeah, I've got some cleanup to do after the storm. But it is what it is. So, well, that is my current walkthrough of the garden. Yeah, some not so great news. Some actually fortunate news. It could have been a lot worse than it is. So it'll just keep me on my toes and have to get things addressed. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time. Hope you're safe where you are. I hope for all of you that are in Tornado Alley, I hope that you're safe. I know there's storms coming your way, so please be careful and have a great garden day.